Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Mr. Jobs English podcast. It's great to have you with us again today.
Hi everyone, I'm James, and as always, I'm here with Mia. Today's episode is a little different, and we're really excited about this format.
That's right. Today we're doing a real job interview simulation, so you can hear exactly how an interview sounds in real life.
No pauses, no explanations in the middle, just natural conversation first.
And the profession we're focusing on today is baker.
A baker works with bread, pastries, dough, ovens, and early mornings. Very early mornings.
Definitely. So imagine this situation. You applied for a baker position at a local bakery. You're invited for an interview. You walk in, sit down, and the interview begins.
From this moment on, we're going to switch into interview mode.
Good morning. Thanks for coming in today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Please, have a seat. Did you find the place easily?
Yes, I did. It was easy to find, and I arrived a little early.
That's always appreciated. So let's get started. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is James, and I've been working as a baker for about 5 years. I started in a small neighborhood bakery, and over time I gained experience with bread, pastries, and basic cake preparation.
That's great. What made you interested in becoming a baker?
I've always enjoyed working with my hands, and I like seeing a final product that people enjoy. Baking is very practical, but also creative. I like the routine, but I also like learning new recipes.
Baking definitely requires both discipline and creativity. What does a typical workday look like for you?
Usually my day starts very early. I arrive around 4 or 5 in the morning. The first thing I do is prepare the dough for bread. I measure ingredients, mix the dough, and let it rest.
When you say let it rest, what do you mean?
I mean letting the dough rise. That's when the yeast works and the dough becomes lighter.
And after that?
After the dough rises, I shape it, place it on trays, and prepare the oven. Temperature control is very important. If the oven is too hot or too cold, the bread won't bake properly.
That's true. What types of products do you usually make?
Mostly bread rolls, loaves, croissants, and some simple pastries. I also help with cookies and muffins when needed.
This position involves working as part of a team. How do you handle teamwork in a bakery environment?
Teamwork is essential. Everyone depends on each other. I communicate clearly, especially during busy mornings. If someone needs help shaping dough or preparing trays, I step in.
Bakeries can get very busy, especially early in the morning. How do you handle pressure?
I stay calm and focus on the task in front of me. Baking requires attention, so I try not to rush too much. I've learned that staying organized helps reduce stress.
That's a very good approach. Have you ever had a problem during a shift?
Yes, of course. Once an oven stopped working in the middle of baking. We had to move everything to another oven quickly.
How did you handle that situation?
I communicated with my coworkers, adjusted baking times, and made sure the products didn't burn. We managed to save most of the batch.
That shows problem-solving skills. Now, cleanliness is very important in food preparation. How do you make sure your workspace stays clean?
I clean as I work. I wipe surfaces regularly, wash tools after use, and always follow hygiene rules. At the end of the shift, I make sure everything is clean and organized.
Good to hear. This bakery also values consistency. How do you ensure your products are consistent every day?
I follow recipes carefully, measure ingredients accurately, and keep notes if adjustments are needed. Consistency builds customer trust.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about availability. This job requires early mornings and weekend shifts. Are you comfortable with that?
Yes, I am. I'm used to early mornings, and I'm available on weekends.
Perfect. And are you comfortable standing for long periods and doing physical work?
Yes, I understand that baking is physically demanding, and I'm prepared for that.
Great. Before we finish, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I do. I'd like to know what a typical morning shift looks like here, and how many bakers usually work together.
That's a great question. We usually have 3 bakers in the morning, and tasks are divided based on experience.
That sounds good. Thank you for explaining.
Thank you for coming in today. We'll be in touch.
Thank you very much for your time.
All right, that's where the interview ends.
And that felt very real.
Exactly. No teaching, no stopping, just a natural job interview for a baker.
In the next part of the episode, we'll switch back to podcast mode and break down the vocabulary and the answers you heard.
That way, you can reuse these ideas in your own interviews.
And really feel prepared.
Ready to keep going? All right, now that we're back in our usual podcast flow, let's talk about what we just heard.
Yeah, because that interview sounded simple, but there was a lot of useful language packed into it.
Exactly, and that's the goal. If you're listening and thinking, that felt natural, that's a good sign. That's how interviews usually sound in real life.
Let's start with one of the first questions. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
That question appears in almost every interview, no matter the job. And notice how the answer didn't include personal life details. It stayed professional.
Right. The focus was on experience, time in the field, and basic responsibilities. Saying, "I've been working as a baker for about 5 years" is clear, simple, and effective.
And the verb tense there matters. I've been working shows ongoing experience, not something that ended in the past.
Another important word that came up early was experience. That's a key word in interviews. Experience means the knowledge and practice you get from doing a job over time.
And notice how experience was connected to specific tasks, not just, I have experience, but experience with bread, pastries, and cake preparation.
That's much stronger. Employers like details.
Then we moved into routine. Talking about a typical day is very common in interviews.
Yeah, phrases like, "My day starts very early," or "The first thing I do is," are extremely useful.
Let's pause on the first thing I do. That structure helps you organize your answer without sounding rehearsed.
And vocabulary like prepare the dough, measure ingredients, and mix the dough are all core baker terms.
Dough is essential. Dough is the mixture of flour, water, yeast, and other ingredients before baking.
And to let it rest or to let it rise are expressions bakers use all the time.
Rise means the dough grows and becomes lighter. Very common word, very useful.
Another great phrase was temperature control. That's not just for baking, by the way. It's used in many technical jobs.
True, but in baking, temperature control can make or break a product.
Then we heard product vocabulary: bread rolls, loaves, croissants, pastries, cookies, muffins.
Even if you don't make all of these, recognizing the words helps you understand job descriptions.
Let's talk about teamwork. The interviewer asked directly about working as part of a team.
And the answer was simple but effective. Teamwork is essential.
That phrase works in almost any interview.
And then it was followed by examples, communicating clearly, helping coworkers, stepping in when needed.
To step in is a nice phrasal verb. It means to help or take action when necessary.
Another key moment was handling pressure. Bakeries can be stressful environments.
The phrase, "I stay calm and focus on the task in front of me," is excellent interview language.
It shows emotional control without sounding dramatic.
Then we moved into problem solving with the oven situation.
That story was short, realistic, and useful. No extra drama, just facts.
Words like stopped working, adjusted baking times, and saved most of the batch are all practical.
Batch is a good bakery word. It means a group of products made at the same time.
Cleanliness was another topic, which is huge in food jobs.
Absolutely. Words like workspace, wipe surfaces, wash tools, and hygiene rules come up often.
And the phrase, "I clean as I work," is very natural.
Employers love that.
Then we heard consistency. That's a powerful interview word.
Consistency means doing things the same good way every time.
Saying consistency builds customer trust is a strong sentence.
Even if your English is simple, that idea shows professionalism.
Availability is another classic interview topic.
I'm comfortable with early mornings and weekends is direct and honest.
And physically demanding is a phrase that appears in many job postings.
It shows you understand the reality of the job.
I also liked the question the candidate asked at the end.
Yes, asking questions shows interest.
What does a typical morning shift look like here is a great example.
It's polite, professional, and job-focused.
Now let's talk about alternatives. If you're listening and thinking, I don't have 5 years of experience, that's okay.
You could say something like, I've been working as a baker for about 1 year, and I'm eager to keep learning.
Or, I recently completed training in baking and have hands-on experience in a small bakery.
Same structure, different level of experience.
For teamwork, instead of I step in, you could say, I'm always willing to help my coworkers.
Or, I believe clear communication is key in a busy kitchen.
For pressure, another option could be, I focus on staying organized during busy shifts.
Simple words, same idea.
And for cleanliness, I always follow food safety standards, also works well.
What's important is sounding honest and calm, not memorized.
Exactly. Interviews are conversations, not speeches.
And this is why listening to full interview simulations helps so much.
You hear rhythm, tone, and pacing.
And you learn how professional English really sounds.
In the final part of today's episode, we'll wrap everything together, review the key language naturally, and leave you with something you can reuse right away.
Let's keep going. Something I really like about that interview is how calm it felt. Nothing sounded rushed, forced, or overly complicated.
Exactly. And that's important to point out because a lot of people think a job interview needs very advanced English.
But most interviews are built with simple structures and clear ideas.
Especially for hands-on professions like baking, employers care more about clarity, reliability, and attitude than fancy vocabulary.
One thing that stood out to me was how often responsibility came up without being directly stated.
Yeah, responsibility was implied through actions, arriving early, following recipes, cleaning the workspace, helping the team.
That's something listeners should notice. You don't always need to say, I am responsible.
You show responsibility by describing responsible behavior.
Exactly. Saying, I clean as I work or I follow hygiene rules already sends that message.
Another important aspect was routine. Many interview answers followed a natural sequence.
Like starting the day, preparing dough, baking, cleaning, and finishing the shift.
That sequence helps the interviewer imagine you in the role.
And it helps you stay confident while answering.
Let's talk a bit more about verbs because verbs are doing most of the work in this interview.
Definitely. Verbs like prepare, measure, mix, shape, bake, clean, adjust.
These are action verbs. They show you know what the job involves.
And they're all in simple forms, nothing complicated.
Even when talking about problems, the language stayed simple.
The oven stopped working. That sentence is very basic, but very effective.
And then, we adjusted baking times. Again, clear and practical.
That's a good reminder that you don't need perfect English to explain a problem.
You just need the right words.
Another thing worth mentioning is tone.
Yes, the candidate didn't sound nervous or arrogant.
Calm, respectful, and confident.
Confidence doesn't mean speaking fast or using big words.
It means speaking clearly and knowing what you're talking about.
Let's imagine a listener preparing for a bakery interview tomorrow morning.
They could take parts of this interview and adapt them easily.
For example, instead of 5 years of experience, they could say 2 years.
Or even say they're starting their career but are already familiar with basic tasks.
I'm comfortable working with dough and ovens is a very useful sentence.
Or I'm learning more every day and open to feedback.
Employers like hearing that.
Now, let's talk about mistakes because people are often afraid of making them.
Making small grammar mistakes is normal.
What matters more is being understandable.
If you say, I work 5 years as baker, people will still understand you.
Of course, I've worked as a baker for 5 years is better.
But communication comes first.
Another thing learners worry about is accent.
And honestly, accent is not a problem.
Employers expect accents, especially in diverse workplaces.
What they want is effort and clarity.
And this interview shows that very clearly.
Let's revisit one more key idea, asking questions at the end.
Yes, that part is often overlooked.
Asking about the team or the shift shows interest.
It also shows you're thinking about how you'll fit into the workplace.
And the question used was simple and professional.
No personal questions, no salary talk at that moment.
Just curiosity about the job itself.
Another subtle thing I liked was availability.
Saying you're comfortable with early mornings and weekends is very important in baking.
And being honest there matters.
It's better to be clear than to accept something you can't handle.
Absolutely.
Now, for listeners who are not bakers, this episode still helps.
Because the interview structure applies to many jobs.
Talking about experience, routine, teamwork, pressure, and availability is universal.
Only the vocabulary changes.
And that's exactly why this format works so well.
You hear real language in real context.
And then you reflect on it calmly afterward.
Over time, this builds confidence.
Not just for interviews, but for workplace conversations in general.
If you're listening and repeating some of these sentences out loud, that's great.
Practice makes things feel natural.
And remember, interviews are conversations, not exams.
The goal is connection, not perfection.
Before we wrap up, let's quickly recall the core ideas we heard today.
Clear experience, simple routines, teamwork, cleanliness, and reliability.
All expressed with easy, natural English.
That's the sweet spot.
And that's exactly what we want you to take from this episode.
If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the podcast, hit the like button, and tell us in the comments which profession you want us to talk about next.
Thanks for spending this time with us.
We really appreciate you listening.
See you in the next episode.
Bye for now.